Yo, what's up guys, Aiden here. So today in this video, I'm going to show you how I made $1,500 trading stocks. I traded SBET, S-B-E-T. I traded it as a first green day. So if you don't know what a first green day is, as always, please go and watch the video linked in the description first. Let's jump straight into it. Yo, so today, SBET, S-B-E-T is a first green day. Starting to feel a little bit predictable on these videos. Like almost every video is like first green day, first green day. But yeah, it is definitely the pattern I'm most comfortable with. I do like to trade other things, but other than sort of first green days and bankruptcy bounces, if I'm trading other stuff, I really need to be present at my screen in order to know what's in play and getting the flow and the tune of the market. So I'm not really doing that as much as I have been in the past. So I'm just taking the trades which I know what I'm most familiar with. So SBET, S-B-E-T. Let's start as always with the daily chart. So we can see here, I traded it on this day as well. I made 1,400. I think my last video on this. Yeah, I did third day surge. So yeah, made close to $1,000 close to 3,000 on this ticker. Should have been closer to 10. Coulda, shoulda, woulda. Right, okay, so let's break down this chart. If you've not seen my previous video on SBET, go back and watch that one. Right, so this was the big day one move. Then we had first red day. Then we had a third day surge, which is a type of first green day bounce. And then we had a continuation day two. Then we had another first red day. And then on this day, which is today, I was looking for a first green day bounce. So it's nice when these tickers are in play because they give multiple trade opportunities. If one was short biased as well as long biased, I guess this would have been a really nice, it's not really a first red day, is it? It is a first red day technically, but I guess it would be like a, I don't know, a parabolic short maybe. I'm not short biased, but there's definitely a trade there for shorts. So yeah, this is the day today. Now, if we could jump to the intraday chart, actually, firstly, I will say I'll draw on my profit targets, but I did feel a little bit conflicted in this one in terms of how far I thought it could run. And the reason for that is, well, there's two reasons. One, it's already had a first green day, which is this. And two, this hasn't really set up for a liquidity trap style trade. And it wasn't really liquidity trap style. Yeah, it was a liquidity trap style trade here because the volume dropped off so much on this day. But here we can see that the volume isn't it's not a massive drop off in compared to here, 54 million to 2 million. It's not the same kind of drop in liquidity. So I didn't, that burst of energy that we get when the price just spikes ridiculously is often down to shorts getting squeezed as a result of a liquidity trap. So I was a bit, like I say, conflicted in regards to how far I thought this could run. The profit targets that I had were, well, I'll tell you in a sec. So firstly, I was looking at this yesterday and I did like this break of trend here. Okay, so on this day, it was down, what was it, 35% or something like that at one point. I think it was down into the 30s at one point when it was down here, down at 46, but it closed down 27%. So it's considerable, it's a big drop from its highs, okay? Its highs were like $123 all the way down to 45. So a massive drop off its highs. So it is sort of, the chances are that, this is ready for a bounce. So what I liked is that this trend line here, which had been holding for 2 days, finally broke, and that's where we started to get this little push from. Now, I didn't take a piece here. It was a bit late in the day for me to be taking a trade. I thought I'd wait until the next day and see how it set up. So this morning, I found this I didn't trade this very well, guys. I didn't trade this very well, and It's nice that I still made money, but I kind of just, yeah, I was a bit too emotional with it. So when off these first green days, my ultimate risk level is going to be here, off this low here. So it's down towards 45. Now, pre-market action here, if I'm buying here, it's too far away from my risk. But I did want to get a piece of the action because I felt like this might not make it all the way down. So I had to take really small size at like $52, 51.35 was my first entry. And the reason is, this is so similar to the last video I did. When I was talking about, do you risk off red green or the previous low? Well, in this instance, red green is up here, but the risk level one of the levels that I thought might hold was the key round number of 50, which is about here. So I really felt like that could hold pre-market, but I started to doubt what I was thinking, and so I took a piece at 51.35, very small size, only like like $2,000 or something like that. And then I took another piece at like 52. And I said, you know what? I'll just risk it off 50. 50 breaks, I will. I'll cut and reassess and try and get it lower. If you watch the last video, go and watch the last video if you're not already. It's so similar. But when it came down towards 50, again, I was long at this point from an average of around 51.50 or 51.60. It came down. And I just got scared, and I sold like a third of my position, and then I saw it hold and start to push. And then I ended up adding back higher at like 54 and then 55. And then I saw it push out the gain, added at 56. And I ended up at like of an average of like, I can't even remember, like 54 or something like that. And I set price targets. My ultimate price target was here of 81. And I also, where was the other one? My other one was here, this lower day at 70. This lower day here at 70. Now, I took my first, I sold a nice bit of it here, which I'm happy with. And then I ended up selling another piece here, because I started to become impatient and doubt whether it could reach, doubt whether this had the legs to go higher for the reasons that I previously gave earlier, i.e. the liquidity situation and the fact it's already had a first green day. So yeah, it was really in my mind, and I was thinking, I am trying to work on my patience. I definitely am trying to work on my patience, but there is a time to be patient. And in my eyes, this didn't tick all of the boxes. And I've got to kind of, as I'm saying that, it kind of brings me some comfort in a way, because, I did take off too much too soon, but there is a good reason for that. Whereas in other trades, I'm taking off too much too soon, and I shouldn't be, because it ticks all the boxes. So I took off, quite a large piece of about half my position here. Then what happened when it came down and double bottomed here, I re-added what I had taken off I re-added at 62, and then I got completely scared that my average is now too high, and I just sold it again at 62. But my plan was to risk that little piece off here, off that low here at 61. And if I'd kept that piece on, it would have served me really well, but I didn't. Then what I did, this is really bad trading, guys. Then what I did, I watched it come up, and just for some reason, I'm happy to keep this as my risk level now. I like that as a risk level. For some reason, when it was up here, I began to, for some reason, I said, right, I'm going to risk half of what I've got remaining off VWAP. There's absolutely no reason, all I'm doing there is risking getting shaken out. It's absolutely, just completely emotional trading in the moment. I felt pretty calm, but these weird thoughts come into my head, and that's what I did. So this little dip here, I sold, half of my position left, and then when I saw it moving on up, I was pleased that I had some left to sell. Just sold it all the way up. My best sell was around 34. So yeah, not the best trade in there, to be honest, guys. Here, it was, getting scared out, not sticking to risk, and then buying into strength, and then selling possibly too much, and then not sticking to my risk here, and then randomly moving my risk up here, and then these sales were okay. So I still made 1,500 on it. That's all right, but yeah, not the best trade I've ever taken by any means, but it's okay, I guess. When the I mean, obviously I want to trade the best to the best of my ability, but you kind of get away with it when the setup's good and the setup's on your side, which was the case today. So all right, cool. That is that one. I need to do an account update really, because yeah, it's growing quite nicely. All right, cool. Bye bye.